The skies above Varelia were calm at last. The Kralons had retreated, their ships scattered and broken across the void of space. The fires that had consumed parts of the city slowly faded, leaving behind smoke, ash, and the first signs of rebuilding. For the Lorraine, the long hours of fear and uncertainty were finally ending. Kalira stood atop a hill overlooking the capital city of Lyris. The sun rose gently over the horizon, casting light on buildings that had been scorched but were slowly being repaired. Civilians moved about, helping the injured, clearing debris, and rebuilding what the invaders had destroyed. "Is it truly over?" a young Lorraine soldier asked, standing beside Kalira. His voice was soft, filled with a mixture of exhaustion and wonder. "For now," Kalira replied. "The Kralons are gone, but they may return. What matters is that we survived, and we are not alone anymore." The humans' fleet remained in orbit, a shining presence in the sky. Their ships were enormous yet sleek, bristling with weapons yet moving with a calm precision. The Lorraine had watched them for hours, amazed at how disciplined and courageous they were. These humans had entered a war on an alien world far from their homes. Yet they fought as if nothing could stop them, and in doing so, they had inspired an entire people. Commander Holt's flagship descended slightly to communicate with the Lorraine leaders. His voice echoed clearly in the plaza where Kalira and several council members had gathered. "We have come to ensure your people are safe and to help you rebuild," he said. "Your courage during the battle was remarkable. You adapted quickly, learned new strategies, and fought with determination. We are proud to stand with you." Kalira stepped forward. "Commander Holt, we owe you and your fleet more than words can express. You have saved lives and shown us courage we never imagined. How can we ever repay you?" Holt smiled faintly. "You repay us by standing strong, by protecting your people, and by sharing your knowledge and wisdom. The galaxy is vast and full of challenges, but together we can face anything." Around them, Lorraine citizens were celebrating quietly. Some embraced loved ones. Others worked alongside humans to repair damaged infrastructure. Children ran through the streets laughing despite the recent destruction. For the first time in weeks, life felt normal. Kalira noticed a small group of human engineers helping Lorraine scientists restore the city's power grids. "They are more than warriors," she said softly. "They are teachers, guides, and friends." One of the human officers, Lieutenant Harris, approached Kalira. "Your people have remarkable skill and ingenuity," he said. "Today you fought alongside us as equals. That is why the battle was won. Your courage matched ours." Kalira felt a swell of pride. The Lorraine had always been intelligent, but their reliance on peace sometimes made them hesitant in times of war. The humans had shown them that courage, even in the face of danger, was a choice, and a powerful one at that. As the day progressed, the fleet prepared to depart. Their mission was complete, and while the Lorraine had survived, the humans could not remain indefinitely. Yet before leaving, they shared knowledge, resources, and strategies to help the Lorraine defend themselves against future threats. Kalira gathered her people to witness the humans' departure. She raised her communicator to address both humans and Lorraine alike. "Today we have learned something extraordinary," she said. "We have learned that courage can cross galaxies, that hope can be shared, and that even the smallest among us can change the course of history. We will not forget what has been done for us here," Commander Holt responded with a nod. "And we will not forget the courage and determination of the Lorraine people. Remember, the galaxy is full of allies waiting to be found, and sometimes the bravest act is to reach out for help when it is needed." One by one, the massive ships lifted into the sky, engines glowing, moving as a single coordinated fleet. They were leaving, but their presence had left a mark, a promise that the Lorraine were not alone in the universe. As the fleet disappeared into the stars, Kalira turned to her people. "We have survived because of courage, unity, and hope," she said. "Let us rebuild stronger than before. Let us teach these lessons to our children, so that they too know that even in the darkest times, hope is never lost." The Lorraine began rebuilding their city with newfound determination. Human technology and advice helped restore infrastructure faster than anyone had imagined possible. Energy shields were repaired, communication networks rebuilt, and defenses strengthened. The scars of the battle would remain, but they were marks of survival, not defeat. Kalira spent her days coordinating efforts between human advisors and Lorraine engineers. She marveled at how humans approached every problem with ingenuity and teamwork. turning even the smallest tasks into lessons in strategy and courage. One evening, she sat quietly on the same hill where she had first seen the human fleet arrive. The city below was alive with movement, laughter, and the faint hum of energy systems. Children played among the rebuilt streets, and adults worked side by side to repair what had been lost. Kalira looked up at the stars where the humans had vanished. She realized that the galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers, but also full of friends, allies, and hope. The humans had not just saved her world. They had shown her people that unity and courage could overcome even the most terrifying threats. She sent a message into the galaxy, a record of gratitude and promise. To those who hear this message, the Lorraine have survived. We have faced great danger, yet through courage, unity, and the help of allies we have endured. We will protect life, defend peace, and honor those who have fought for us. Let this message remind all who hear it that hope is a force stronger than fear. As Kalira finished, a small group of Lorraine children approached her. "Will they come back?" one asked, eyes wide with curiosity. "They may," Kalira replied, smiling. "But even if they do not, we have learned from them. Their courage is now part of us, and as long as we remember that, we can face anything." The children smiled and ran off to join their friends, laughter ringing through the streets. Kalira watched them, feeling a sense of peace she had not known in weeks. The battle was over, the Krylons had been defeated, and her people were alive. Night fell over Virelia, stars glittering above. Kalira looked at the skies, imagining the humans traveling through the galaxy, helping other civilizations in need. She knew that humanity's spirit was not limited to their own planet. It was a force of hope, courage, and inspiration wherever they went. In that quiet moment, Kalira understood the truth of what the humans had shown her. The galaxy could be dangerous, filled with threats far beyond what any single race could handle. But with courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to help others, even the most hopeless situations could turn into victories. She stood, raising her gaze to the stars, and whispered softly, "Thank you, humans. You have shown us that courage knows no boundaries, that hope is stronger than fear, and that life is worth defending, even when the odds seem impossible. We will honor your gift by standing strong, by protecting each other, and by never forgetting what we have learned." Below her, the city of Lyris shimmered in the light of its twin suns. The people of Virelia were alive, free, and rebuilding, not just their homes but their spirit. The Krylons had been defeated, but the true victory was something far greater. The Lorraine had learned the meaning of courage, unity, and hope. The humans had come and left, but their spirit remained. In every repaired street, every rescued child, every rebuilt building, the Lorraine carried a piece of human courage within them. They had seen firsthand that even the smallest act of bravery could turn the tide of battle, and even the most desperate moment could be changed by hope. Kalira smiled as she watched the city below. The future was uncertain, yes, but now it was filled with possibilities. With courage, unity, and hope as their guides, the Lorraine would face whatever challenges came next, not as a frightened race, but as a people inspired by humanity itself. And somewhere, across the vast galaxy, humans would continue their journey, helping those in need, spreading courage, and proving once again that hope and bravery were forces powerful enough to shape the universe. For Virelia, and for all who witnessed humanity's arrival, the message was clear. Even in the darkest times, help could arrive, courage could triumph, and hope could endure. The vastness of space was quiet, almost silent, except for the soft hum of Earth Space Command's flagship, HSS Resolute. Commander Alara Voss sat in the bridge's observation room, staring at the stars stretching endlessly ahead. She had seen many distress signals before, but nothing like this. Something about this signal made her stomach tighten. It had started with a flicker on the communication monitors. At first it was weak, almost lost among the static of deep space. But then the voice had come through, pleading, urgent, desperate. "Please, anyone, help us. Krith coming. We cannot fight alone." The voice was unlike any human language. It was musical, soft, but the fear behind it was clear. The translator software had worked overtime to decipher the message. It identified the species as Tavari, a peaceful civilization in the Virelia system, more than 50 light-years from Earth. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. She turned to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Ryan Kale, who was already running calculations on the navigation console. Do we even know what we are walking into? She asked. Rian shook his head. Not fully. But it's clear they are in trouble. And whoever the Krith are, they don't mess around. Their attacks are fast, precise, and deadly. If the Tavari are asking for help, this is serious. Alara took a deep breath. Humanity had faced threats before, but nothing outside the solar system. Nothing like this. Yet something in her gut told her that this was the moment humans had been preparing for, even if they did not realize it. Plot a course, she said finally. Full jump to Varelia. We answer their call. The journey through the wormhole was tense. The crew worked in silent efficiency, every sensor, every instrument running at maximum capacity. The HSS Resolute was a marvel of human engineering, a fusion-powered battleship with advanced shields, AI-assisted targeting systems, and a crew trained for situations far beyond the ordinary. Still, the unknown of Krith territory made even the most seasoned officers uneasy. Alara wandered the ship checking on her team. Scientists studied alien biology, diplomats reviewed Tavari culture, and soldiers polished weapons, their faces hard with focus. Among them, Lieutenant Rian Kale moved with quiet confidence. He was young, but his experience in space combat was unmatched. He believed in one simple rule: humans do not retreat. Hours passed. Then, as the ship emerged from the wormhole, the view on the observation screens left everyone speechless. Varelia stretched before them, a system of green-blue planets, orbiting a bright golden sun. At first glance it looked peaceful, but closer inspection revealed something horrifying. The skies above the largest Tavari world were filled with massive Krith warships, dark and jagged, moving like predators circling a wounded prey. Plumes of energy fire streaked across the atmosphere, and cities burned in flashes of orange and red. Rian's voice cut through the quiet tension. They're attacking. Right now, Alara nodded. Prepare for immediate deployment. We are not just observers. We are here to act. The first human Tavari contact was chaotic. The Tavari were not used to aggressive warfare. Their defenses were beautiful, elegant, but fragile. Their shields could absorb minor attacks. Their fleets moved with precision, but they lacked the brutality of human strategy. Alara watched as their cities were struck again and again. Civilians ran through the streets seeking shelter in structures that offered little protection against Krith weapons. The humans moved quickly. They deployed evacuation shuttles, set up temporary energy shields around the most vulnerable areas, and used human ingenuity to redirect energy beams from Tavari power grids to boost defense systems. It was improvisation on a massive scale, but it worked. Small groups of Krith fighters were destroyed, and for the first time, the Tavari looked at humans not with fear, but with hope. A Tavari elder, glowing softly with bioluminescent markings, approached Alara. His voice trembled as he spoke through a translator device. We did not believe anyone would come. Our people, we cannot fight them alone. Your species, you bring strength. Alara nodded, understanding the weight of his words. We will not leave you. We will fight together. Human and Tavari forces began to coordinate. Alara realized quickly that the Krith had underestimated humans. Their arrogance was their weakness. The Krith expected fear, obedience, or surrender, but humans did not respond to fear in the same way. Humans adapted. They observed, they tested, they improvised, and then they struck back in ways the Krith had never predicted. Lieutenant Rian Kale led a squadron of modified fighters, small but fast, armed with experimental energy disruptors designed to penetrate Krith shields. The first engagement was daring, almost reckless, but Ryan's instincts proved correct. The Krith warship, massive and imposing, erupted in a chain of explosions after a precise strike at its core. The crew cheered. The Tavari stared in awe. Humanity had made its first mark. At night, in the quiet moments between attacks, Alara reflected on the situation. She walked through the corridors of the HSS Resolute, seeing civilians, soldiers, and scientists working tirelessly. Humanity was not perfect. Humans could be chaotic, emotional, and sometimes reckless, but in moments of crisis, they shone. Their courage, their creativity, and their determination could not be measured by technology alone. Even the Tavari, whose culture valued logic and order above all else, began to see it. They saw humans run into danger, not because of orders but because of choice. Humans fought not just to survive. They fought to protect, to save, and to make a difference. As the first day of battle ended, the Krith retreated temporarily, damaged and surprised. Ilara gathered her team in the command center. Maps of the Virelia system glowed on the holographic displays, showing burning cities, shattered fleets, and the positions of the remaining Krith forces. "We have bought the Tavari some time," Ilara said, her voice calm but firm. "But this is only the beginning. The Krith will return, and when they do, they will come harder. They do not fight like humans. They do not think like humans, but that is our advantage." A young Tavari engineer stepped forward. "Your people. You fight differently. You do not fear, you are strange, but powerful." Ilara smiled faintly. "We fight because we care. Because we cannot stand by when others suffer. That is what humans do." Even as she spoke, the sensors picked up new Krith fleets approaching. The humans and Tavari were not done. Not by far. Ilara turned back to the observation window, staring at the oncoming warships. They were vast, overwhelming, and terrifying, but she did not feel fear. She felt resolve. Humanity had answered the call. And humanity did not back down. The stars shone bright in the Virelia sky, reflecting in the glass of the bridge. Somewhere, deep in the burning cities below, civilians whispered prayers not just to their gods, but to the strangers who had come across light years to save them. Humans, warriors, protectors. Commander Ilara Voss clenched her fists. "We came to help," she said quietly. "And if they want war, we will bring total war." And with that, humanity's engines roared to life, preparing to strike again, to fight harder, and to show the galaxy what it meant when humans refused to stand down. The first day was over. But the war for Virelia, and for the honor of all who could not fight for themselves, was just beginning. The Virelia system was still burning. Smoke rose from shattered cities, and the once peaceful skies were streaked with the trails of Krith fighters. On the bridge of the HSS Resolute, Commander Ilara Voss stood over the glowing star map, her expression tight with focus. Every sensor ping reminded her of the stakes. The Tavari were counting on humanity, and failure was not an option. Lieutenant Rian Kale moved to her side, reviewing the battle reports from the previous engagement. "The Krith underestimated us," he said. "Their fleet was expecting fear, not bold tactics. That dreadnought we took out, it shook their command structure more than they realize." Ilara nodded. "Good, but they are not gone. They will come back with more ships, more firepower. We need a plan to protect the Tavari and hit them where it hurts." The Tavari, meanwhile, worked tirelessly. Their technology was advanced, but fragile in the chaos of war. Civilians were evacuated to underground shelters, while engineers and soldiers tried to repair what they could. One Tavari commander, Lyran, a tall figure with glowing markings across his skin, approached Ilara. "We are grateful," Lyran said. "Your people. You move with courage. You think differently. That is new to us, but our fleet cannot hold the Krith much longer." Ilara placed a hand on the Tavari commander's shoulder. "Then we fight together. Humans are not afraid of a challenge. We learn fast, we adapt, and we fight to protect those who cannot fight for themselves." The first human-led strike was daring and dangerous. Using the Tavari fleet as cover, Ilara organized a small squadron of human fighters to infiltrate the Krith blockade. These ships were faster and more maneuverable than anything the Krith had expected. Lieutenant Rian led the squadron, his voice calm but commanding over the comms. "Stay tight. Follow my lead. Watch for traps. And remember, they underestimate us. That is our advantage." The Krith were brutal and precise, but they had one weakness. They were rigid. Their fleet moved in perfect, predictable patterns. Humans, on the other hand, thrived in chaos. Ryan's squadron darted through the gaps in formation, striking at weak points and retreating before the Krith could respond. One human fighter, piloted by Seren Miro, a young but fearless pilot, flew directly into the path of a Krith cruiser. Using an improvised energy disruptor, she disabled its shields long enough for another human ship to fire and destroy it completely. The Tavari watched in awe. They had never seen such bold, unpredictable tactics. It was raw, chaotic, but brilliant. Humanity was showing that courage and creativity could overcome even the most disciplined enemy. Back on the HSS Resolute, Ilara coordinated reinforcements. Engineers worked furiously to modify Tavari energy cannons, integrating human targeting algorithms to increase accuracy. Soldiers trained Tavari units in close-quarters combat, teaching techniques that were simple but devastatingly effective. Lyran observed the humans with a mixture of respect and disbelief. "Your people. You fight as one mind, but also as individuals. It is strange. But it works," Ilara smiled faintly. "Humans are complicated," she said. "But when we see injustice, we act. That is what makes us strong." The battle raged across the skies of Virelia's largest planet. Krith warships rained energy fire down on cities trying to crush resistance. But humans were relentless. They adapted weapons, coordinated attacks, and took risks the Krith could not predict. Lieutenant Ryan's squadron executed a daring maneuver. Using Tavari cloaking technology combined with human navigation tactics, they sneaked past the Krith main fleet and struck directly at a command ship. The Krith were stunned. Their communication lines were disrupted and their strategy began to falter. Ilara saw the opening. "All units, move in. Hit them from every angle. Show them what humans can do." What followed was chaos, but humans thrived in it. Ships twisted through space, weaving between enemy fire. Energy blasts lit the sky. Krith vessels exploded one by one, unable to anticipate human ingenuity. Amid the chaos, human bravery shone brightest. Saren Miro led a squad through the debris of destroyed Krith ships, rescuing Tavari civilians trapped in orbiting stations. Engineer Talia Wren rigged a series of energy pulses that disabled multiple Krith drones, allowing human fighters to strike without fear of interception. Ilara watched it all from the bridge, her heart swelling with pride. Humanity was not perfect. They made mistakes, sometimes reckless ones, but in moments of desperation they rose to the occasion. Lyran came to her side, his glowing markings flickering with emotion. "We feared extinction, but your people, you brought hope. You brought strength. I did not think anyone could fight like this." Ilara placed a hand over his. "We are not here to conquer. We are here to protect, and when someone cannot protect themselves, that is when humans fight hardest." The Krith, realizing the humans were not to be underestimated, began to regroup. They called in reinforcements, massive ships arriving from deeper in their territory. The skies over Virelia became a deadly chessboard, with humans and Tavari working together to predict enemy moves and strike where it hurt most. But it was not just brute force that won the day. It was human unpredictability, creativity, and daring. When one Krith cruiser targeted a human supply convoy, Ryan executed a maneuver that no manual could teach. He twisted through space, drawing the enemy into a trap where multiple human ships waited. The cruiser was destroyed and the convoy was saved. As the sun set on the battle-scarred planet, silence fell for the first time since the Krith invasion began. Fires still burned in cities and debris floated in orbit. But the Tavari were alive, their civilians safe for now and their spirits lifted. Ilara walked among them, seeing civilians who had watched their world almost destroyed, now smiling cautiously. Children peeked from shelters, fascinated by the humans who had come from the stars to save them. Lyran approached her once more. "Your people. You are not warriors like us, not in the traditional sense, but you fight with heart, with mind, and with courage. That is enough," Ilara nodded. "It is never just about strength. It is about refusing to give up. Humans, and we fight for what is right, and we will not stop." In the quiet of the HSS Resolute, Ilara and Ryan reviewed the battle logs. They had won, yes, but the Krith were still out there, stronger and more numerous. This was only the beginning. Ryan frowned. "They will return, and next time, they will be smarter. They will expect us. We need to be ready." Ilara stared at the stars, thinking about the future. "Then we adapt, we learn, and when they come, we will meet them head-on. Humans don't hide from war. We face it and we fight until we win." A Tavari child wandered onto the bridge, eyes wide as she looked at the humans. She held a small model of a human fighter ship she had built from scraps. "Thank you," she said simply. Ilara smiled and crouched down. "You're welcome. We are here to protect you, and we will keep fighting until your people are safe." That night, the Virelia system was calm for the first time in days, but Ilara knew the Krith would return. They were relentless, brutal, and without mercy. But so were humans when they fought for something they believed in. The first human strike had shown what humanity was capable of: courage, ingenuity, and heart. And the Tavari now understood something they had never seen before: a species that would not yield, that would not surrender, and that would fight for the helpless no matter the cost. Ilara gazed at the stars, determination burning in her eyes. They begged for help, she said quietly to herself. And humanity answered. And if the Krith want war, they will get total war. The battle was won, but the war for Veralia had only begun. Humanity had made its mark, and the galaxy would remember the day humans first brought hope and first blood to a distant, suffering world. The calm after the first battle was fragile. The Veralia system's skies still carried the scars of destruction, but human and Tavari forces used the brief respite to repair, regroup, and prepare for what was coming. Commander Alara Voss walked along the HSS Resolute's corridors, watching humans and Tavari engineers work side by side. Every second counts, she said to Lieutenant Rian Kale, who was monitoring sensor data. The Krith will come back, and next time they will come in greater numbers. Ryan nodded, his face tense. We've learned a lot about their fleet patterns. They're fast, powerful, but predictable. That is our advantage. We strike where they do not expect. Alara paused, thinking. The Krith were ruthless conquerors. Every civilization they touched either fell under their control or was destroyed. But they had a weakness, rigidity. They fought with rules, patterns, and precision, but they struggled when faced with unpredictability. Humans thrived in chaos. Humans adapted. Humans learned. The plan was bold. Instead of waiting for the Krith to strike again, humanity would take the fight to them. Using Tavari technology, human engineers modified stealth systems, creating small, fast ships capable of infiltrating Krith-held space. The goal was to destroy their supply lines, disrupt communications, and weaken their fleet before they could consolidate power. Ilara called the strike team together. This is more than defense, she said. We are taking the war to them. The Krith think they are untouchable. They are wrong. Our unpredictability, our courage, and our determination are our weapons. Strike fast, strike smart, and show them what humans do when they fight for what is right. Lyran, the Tavari commander, nodded. We will follow your lead. Our fleets are untested in such attacks, but with your guidance, perhaps we can succeed. The first mission was a deep infiltration into Krith territory. Lieutenant Rian Kale led a squadron of modified human fighters, while Tavari ships provided support from a distance. Using stealth fields and calculated maneuvers, they slipped past the outer Krith defenses and reached a critical supply hub orbiting a desolate asteroid. Sensors show heavy energy reserves, Ryan reported. Destroying them will cripple their fleet for weeks. Alara watched the holographic display. Do it, but minimize civilian casualties. The Krith enslave and exploit. They are brutal, but we are not like them. Remember why we fight. The attack was precise. Human pilots, combining Tavari cloaking technology with their own daring instincts, struck the supply hub from unexpected angles. Energy pulses ripped through Krith storage vessels, detonating fuel reserves and crippling their fleet logistics. Krith fighters scrambled to respond, but human tactics were unpredictable. One by one, ships fell into traps or were forced to retreat. The humans were not only attacking, they were learning. Each engagement revealed Krith weaknesses. A predictable shield pattern here, a slow response to certain maneuvers there. Engineers adapted weapons in real time, creating devices to exploit these flaws. One innovation, a disruptor pulse, temporarily disabled multiple Krith ships at once, allowing humans to strike with minimal risk. Even the Tavari were astonished. Your people. You learn quickly, Lyran said. You adapt faster than anything we know. It is remarkable, Alara smiled. Humans fight with more than technology. We fight with curiosity, creativity, and determination. That makes all the difference. The first strike was a success, but the Krith responded with fury. Massive fleets emerged from deeper space, aiming to crush the human-Tavari alliance. The Veralia system became a battlefield once more. Alara and Ryan coordinated the defense. Use our knowledge of their patterns, Alara said. Divide their fleet, isolate their commanders, and hit their weakest points. Remember, they are strong but rigid. We are fast, we are clever, and we fight for those who cannot defend themselves. That is our strength. The battle raged across space, and human creativity shone brightest. Ships twisted and turned, weaving between enemy fire. Pilots executed daring maneuvers that no Krith tactical manual could predict. Engineers rigged temporary energy barriers, allowing civilians to escape Krith bombardments. Soldiers boarded enemy vessels using grappling lines, disabling ships from inside. Lieutenant Rian led a particularly dangerous mission. His squadron targeted a Krith command ship at the heart of the fleet. Using an improvised attack pattern, they confused the Krith AI and struck at critical points. The command ship exploded, sending shockwaves across the enemy formation. Even the Tavari could not hide their amazement. "This Dyke is not a battle we expected," Lyran admitted. "Your people, you do not fight like anyone else. You are extraordinary." Ilara did not allow herself to smile just yet. "This is only the beginning. The Krith will recover. We must be ready to push further." Human ingenuity was on full display. Engineer Talia Wren devised a method to use Tavari planetary defenses in combination with human energy cannons. By linking multiple planetary shield arrays, they could create temporary corridors of energy that allowed human fighters to bypass enemy fire and strike Krith positions directly. On the battlefield, pilots like Seren Miro became legends. She executed high-risk maneuvers, darting into the heart of enemy formations, disabling ships and rescuing trapped civilians. Every strike inspired not just the Tavari, but also human soldiers, who realized that courage and quick thinking could achieve the impossible. The Krith, furious and frustrated, tried to adapt. They deployed experimental ships and stronger defenses, but human unpredictability proved too much. Every tactic they prepared was countered by bold, unorthodox strategies. Even when trapped, humans found a way to escape and retaliate. Ilara realized something critical. Humans' greatest weapon was not their technology or firepower. It was their mind, their adaptability, and their unwillingness to give up. No machine, no rigid fleet could match that. Ryan piloted his fighter through a chaotic battlefield, weaving between explosions and enemy fire. "We are learning their weaknesses," he said over comms, "and every battle makes us stronger. The Krith think they are invincible. They are not ready for humans." By the end of the engagement, the Krith fleet was forced to retreat once again, but this time they were badly damaged. Supply lines destroyed, command ships lost, morale shattered. The humans and Tavari had dealt a significant blow. On the HSS Resolute, Ilara addressed her crew and the Tavari leaders. "Today we showed the Krith that fear is not a weapon humans respect. We strike with purpose, we fight with intelligence, and we protect those who cannot defend themselves. This is only the beginning of the war, but it is a beginning that they will never forget." Lyran's eyes glowed faintly with emotion. "Your people, you do not fight for conquest. You fight for justice. That is a new kind of power." Ilara nodded. "We fight because it is right. And when the Krith return, and they will, we will be ready. Humans do not retreat. We do not surrender. We fight until victory is ours." As night fell across the shattered planets of Virelia, Ilara and Ryan stood together on the bridge. The stars were beautiful and cold, but they held a promise. Humanity was no longer a distant observer. They were a force in the galaxy, capable of shaping the outcome of interstellar wars. Ryan looked at her. "Do you think we can win?" he asked quietly. Ilara's eyes were steady. "We don't just win, Ryan. We endure, we adapt. And when the galaxy needs us, we bring everything we have. Humans are not just fighters, we are protectors. And no one will underestimate us again." Below them, Tavari civilians began to rebuild, inspired by the humans who had come to their aid. Children played among the ruins, laughing for the first time since the Krith invasion began. Engineers repaired damaged structures, and soldiers trained for the battles to come. Hope had returned, and with it, the resolve to continue fighting. The first wave of escalation had proven one thing: the Krith were not invincible. Humanity, with its courage, creativity, and determination, had shown that even the most terrifying enemies could be challenged. Ilara knew the next phase of the war would be even harder. The Krith would adapt, bringing more ships, more firepower, more cunning, but humans were ready. They had learned, they had fought, and they had proven their worth, not just as warriors, but as protectors of those who could not protect themselves. She looked at the stars and whispered, "They begged for help." We answered. And if the Krith want war, they will learn what humanity truly brings. The battle was far from over. The war for Virelia and the fight for countless lives across the galaxy had only just begun. Humanity had escalated from defenders to avengers, and the galaxy would never see anything like them again. The Virelia system had become a battlefield unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Cities lay in ruins. Orbital stations were shattered, and the skies carried the scars of countless battles. But humanity had arrived, and with it, hope. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the HSS Resolute, gazing at the holographic display of approaching Krith fleets. She had seen war before, but this was different. This was not just defense, it was a fight for survival, and humans were about to show what they could do when pushed to their limits. Sensors show 3 main Krith fleets converging, reported Lieutenant Ryan Kale. They're bringing everything they have, but yet their formations are predictable. We can exploit that, Alara nodded. Good, prepare our forces. Today, humanity fights not just to defend, we strike to end their dominance. All units report to battle stations. The humans and Tavari had learned from every previous engagement. Engineers modified Tavari energy cannons, combining them with human targeting systems to increase precision. Fighters were upgraded with adaptive shields, allowing them to weave through enemy fire like needles through cloth. Soldiers trained Tavari troops in guerrilla tactics, emphasizing unpredictability and quick strikes. Lyran, the Tavari commander, observed the preparations with awe. Your people, you fight in ways we cannot fully understand. It is not just strength, it is ingenuity, courage, and spirit. Alara smiled faintly. That is humans. We fight with our minds, our hearts, and our instincts. That is why we survive and why we will win. The first strike came as dawn broke over Virelia's largest planet. Krith warships emerged from orbit, massive and dark, bristling with weapons. They expected hesitation, fear, surrender, but humans did not give them any of that. Lieutenant Ryan led the first wave of human fighters, darting through enemy lines, striking critical points, and retreating before the Krith could respond. Pilots like Saren Miro executed daring maneuvers, disabling multiple enemy ships in moments. On the ground, human and Tavari soldiers coordinated attacks on Krith installations. Using portable energy disruptors and guerrilla tactics, they struck supply depots, communications arrays, and command posts. The Krith were powerful, but they had underestimated the humans' adaptability. Alara directed the battle from the HSS Resolute, her voice calm but commanding over the comms. Divide their forces. Hit their weak points. Use everything at your disposal. Remember, we fight to protect the helpless. We fight for justice. The humans unleashed innovations that the Krith had never encountered. Engineer Talia Wren deployed drones that could infiltrate Krith vessels, temporarily disabling weapons and shields. Scientists adapted Tavari cloaking technology, allowing small squads to bypass enemy defenses and strike directly at command centers. Even the Tavari were amazed. Your people, they do not fight like any species we have known. You are extraordinary, Lyran said, watching as human fighters disabled an entire Krith cruiser with coordinated precision. Alara knew that this was just the beginning. The Krith were relentless, but humans were smarter, faster, and more adaptable. They did not fight for power, territory, or greed. They fought for life, for freedom, for those who could not protect themselves. And that made them unstoppable. The battles escalated across multiple fronts. In orbit, massive engagements erupted between human Tavari fleets and the Krith armadas. On planetary surfaces, soldiers and engineers worked together to dismantle enemy fortifications. Civilians were evacuated using human ingenuity. Shuttles, energy shields, and clever diversions allowed them to escape while Krith forces were distracted. Lieutenant Rian piloted a squadron deep into enemy territory, targeting a Krith command station. Using unconventional maneuvers, he drew enemy fire while other squads struck from unexpected angles. The command station exploded in a blinding flash, crippling the Krith chain of command and sending their fleets into temporary disarray. On the ground, human soldiers led by Captain Mara Dune executed daring raids on Krith bases. Using energy grappling devices, they disabled key weapon systems and freed Tavari captives. Tavari soldiers, inspired by human courage, followed their lead, learning to fight with unpredictability and boldness. In orbit, HSS Resolute directed the main fleet. Alara coordinated energy pulses from planetary defenses, human cannons, and Tavari ships to create corridors through Krith lines. Fighters darted through these corridors, striking at critical points and then disappearing before the Krith could respond. The sky was alive with movement, chaos, and brilliance. The Krith, frustrated and enraged, unleashed experimental weapons, massive energy beams, devastating drones, and heavily armored ships. But humans adapted. They created decoy fleets, redirecting enemy fire and creating openings for their main attacks. Engineers modified shields in real time, soldiers improvised new tactics, and pilots exploited every weakness. Lieutenant Rian executed a maneuver that became legendary. Flying through the heart of a Krith formation, he disabled multiple vessels using synchronized energy pulses. The Krith flagship, massive and imposing, erupted in flames, leaving the remaining fleet in confusion. Lyran watched from a Tavari cruiser. Your people, they do not fight to destroy. They fight to protect. And in doing so, they are stronger than anything we have known. Ilara did not smile yet. This is only the beginning. The Krith will recover, but when they do, we will be ready. Humans do not surrender. Humans do not retreat. We fight until the last breath if we must. The tide of the war had shifted. Humanity was no longer just defending Viralia. They were leading the counterattack. Every innovation, every tactic, every act of courage inspired Tavari soldiers and civilians alike. Together, they formed an alliance that the Krith could not easily overcome. Human ingenuity shone in unexpected ways. Engineers deployed energy nets to trap Krith drones. Scientists adapted Tavari communication arrays to predict enemy movements. Pilots performed impossible maneuvers, striking where the Krith were weakest. Soldiers liberated captured Tavari civilians often under fire, showcasing bravery that inspired everyone. As the battle reached its climax, Ilara directed a coordinated strike on the main Krith fleet. Using everything humanity had learned, she orchestrated attacks from multiple angles. Human fighters struck from orbit, planetary defenses fired in synchronized patterns, and Tavari ships flanked the enemy. The Krith were overwhelmed. Their rigid strategies could not adapt to human unpredictability. Ships exploded, drones were disabled, and command centers were destroyed. What had begun as a desperate fight for survival had turned into a full-scale human-led victory. When the dust settled, the Viralia system was scarred but liberated. Civilians emerged from shelters, cheering for the humans and Tavari soldiers who had saved them. Fires still burned in cities, but hope had returned. Ilara walked among the Tavari civilians, witnessing their relief and gratitude. We fight to protect, she said quietly. Not for glory, not for conquest. We fight because it is right. And today your people are free because of that. Lyran bowed his head. Your people, humanity. You brought more than victory. You brought courage, hope, and a promise. We will never forget this day. Even as celebrations began, Ilara knew the war was not over. The Krith still existed, still posed a threat, and would one day return. But humanity had proven something important, that when pressed, humans could adapt, innovate, and fight like no other species. Their courage and intelligence made them more than soldiers. They were protectors, heroes, and a force the galaxy could not ignore. Ilara looked at Rian. The Krith may strike again. They may bring more firepower, more ships, more cruelty, but we are ready. Humanity fights not just to survive. We fight to protect, to inspire, and to endure. Rian nodded. Then let them come. They are not ready for us. The HSS Resolute orbited above the largest Tavari planet. Humans and Tavari alike were rebuilding, training, and preparing for the future. Children played among the ruins. Engineers repaired structures, and soldiers shared knowledge with Tavari forces. Humanity had not only saved a civilization, they had changed the galaxy. Ilara gazed at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility. They begged for help, she whispered. We answered, and humanity will not stop. We will fight, we will protect, and we will bring justice to the galaxy. Total war is not just a choice, it is a promise to those who cannot fight for themselves. The Viralia system was free for now. But the war, the true challenge, was only beginning. Humanity had unleashed its full power, and the galaxy would never forget the day humans showed what they could do.